Hi, this is Bianca Amato. I'm the narrator of The KINGMAKER'S DAUGHter by Philippa Gregory. I feel really honoured to be able to be telling these stories and to be the voice of all these really extraordinary women. And I think it's great that Philippa is allowing their personalities to be imagined, because it's always so much about the men in terms of those particular periods of history. I mean, I find it fascinating just in terms of this particular book because it's centred around Richard III. And what most people know of Richard III is the Shakespeare play. That's largely the most well-known take on him. And on Anne, this book is an entirely different perspective of who he is as a man and what he was doing politically. And I'm also fascinated by the story of the two princes that disappeared. I think Philippa Gregory has created wonderful worlds and incredible characters. What I find compelling about the character Anne Neville is Anne talks about being a pawn in a game of chess. I think that that's really what women in the 1400s and later experienced, even if they were of great royal blood or of good families or in a political position of power in terms of their husbands or their fathers. And she goes through her life with a very, very deep understanding of that powerlessness, but she manipulates it as much as she can. It's hard to believe, but she resigns herself to that. It seems the way in which Philip presents it, it's a constant scrabble to keep one's life on track in this sort of roiling sea of power games that can be, frankly, fatal. It's interesting to think about her tenacity in the situations that she finds herself in. You know, it's fascinating because I've done The White Queen, The Red Queen, The Lady of the Rivers. These are all the same period of history, covering the War of the Roses, the House of York and the House of Lancaster, which eventually merges in some ways. But it's just really interesting to have Philippa Gregory tell the same story from various different points of view. And she does not take a moral standpoint that stays the same throughout her exploring these stories from these different women's points of view. It's fascinating to me to see how these women cope and what they project and what they're assuming about the wars that are going on around them and the battles for ascendance to the throne.